fellow YouTube, I hope that this video finds you guys doing well, even though it's kind of crazy times at the moment with the whole COVID-19 crisis and just all the uncertainty that's out there in the world at the moment. I hope everyone watching is safe and well all the same. To be honest, life hasn't changed that much for me because I work from home anyway, but I have to tell you, it's really nice to be able to sit down in front of the camera today and just think about something different and think about something fun, which is the French language. And I was thinking about French words or terms that just have no direct translation in English. They're uniquely French, let's say. And that's one of my favorite parts about learning a language, is learning about the different way to see the world or describe the world thanks to language and thanks to culture and that kind of thing. So in this video, it's really going to be untranslatable words that French people actually use. And if you guys do want to use this time to do a bit of online learning and learn some French or another language, I wanted to talk to you guys about the Lingoda Language Marathon. I don't want you to get confused because I've been talking about the Lingoda Sprint. And the Sprint is something different because it's got defined dates for 3 months. Like it says in the name Sprint, it's very intense. Super Sprint, you join a class every single day for 3 months and you can earn up to a 100% cashback, which is amazing. But the Language Marathon is something a little bit different where it's more self-paced, but you can still earn a cash reward. So I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about that. So the Lingoda Marathon, of course, is still using the Lingoda platform. So that means you have 24/7 access to native professors and you can study completely from the comfort of your own home, as if we had the choice at the moment anyway, but it's really, really easy. Just like a real marathon where you're training and you're practicing new skills and you're building up your level over the time. You can join a language marathon challenge that lasts for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months and train in your chosen language. So with Lingoda, that could be French, English, business English, Spanish, or German, and you put in the work to get a reward at the end. And of course, in this case, the reward could be a cash reward, but also it's a nice enough time to make really significant progress, right? So if you sign up to the 12-month marathon, Lingoda guarantees you will move up an entire language level. And just the sheer choice of topics is really incredible. There are over 500 of these structured lessons on all different kinds of topics. But I think what's even smarter about the Lingoda model is because it's all online and they don't have physical buildings and those huge overheads to pay, they're able to offer these French classes at really reasonable prices. So the classes start from just €6 per 1 hour lesson. And if you attend 90% of your classes in the marathon, you can earn up to a €400 cashback as well. So if you're keen to give it a go, you've got two options. The first is that Lingoda actually offers a 7-day free trial. So you can try them out free for 7 days and then sign up and go for it. Or if you already know that this is something that you want to do, you can use my link down below, sign up for your marathon directly and use my code Rosie6 and it will give you €50 off your first month. It's up to you, but you can only pick one. If you need any more information or success stories, go and check out their Instagram page on Lingoda_official. And they're always sharing inspiring stories of how it can be so life-changing to learn a language. And I am a big advocate for that as well. So speaking of the love of learning a language, let's jump into this list of French words that just have no equivalent in English. So the first word is dépaysement. Dépaysement literally means to be uncountried. So I guess to be out of your country, feeling like a foreigner, but it's a little bit different to that. So when you say that you're dépaysé in French, it's really a kind of sensation like you're on another planet. It's almost like a mix of wonder and homesickness kind of combined. And you could say something in French like J'aime beaucoup le Japon parce que c'est très dépaysant. I really like Japan because it's very dépaysant. But what's really interesting is that the French can actually use this from one region to another because the regions in France all look so different as well. And I definitely heard French people kind of disappointed when they traveled because it was moins dépaysant, so less dépaysant, than they thought it would be. Or if it's really a shock to the system, it can be a negative thing too. It can be both. The next expression is chanter en yogurt, and this one's quite cute. So singing in yogurt, and I mean, we all know that person who makes up song lyrics and it's kind of like la 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 la, like when they don't really know the words and that kind of thing. But this is, I think, quite a widespread phenomenon in France, which is why they have a word for it, because if you can imagine, there's probably like loads of pop songs and like songs that become a global phenomenon, let's say, with English lyrics. So it's really common in France to see people chanter en yurt, like making up the words as they go. Ah, na 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 na, adieu, you go. Like you hear that all the time, like just kind of making up the words. So the phrase chanter en yurt, it means that, to sing in yogurt, to sing like la la la, kind of like make up the words as you go along to a song. The next word or phrase I guess that I have is bon vivant. C'est un bon vivant. So a bon vivant is someone who knows how to live well, who doesn't mind indulging, a bon vivant to do with food is someone who likes good food and indulges in it and enjoys it. And it can be said the same for wine. Of course, it's basically just for food and wine, this expression. So it's not like in English when you say, oh, he's quite a drinker. It almost always has negative connotations, like, oh, he likes his drink. Whereas bon vivant, it's a little bit like, yeah, he likes his drink, good for him, you know, like it's a good thing. And frankly, with the access that you have to good food and wine in France, who could blame you? Now the next word is interesting. It's empêchement. It's something sort of unforeseen and that came up, like an unexpected change of plans, something that got in your way. But the way that they use it is kind of like, if you turn up super late to work and you've missed your morning meeting, if you said to your boss like, je suis désolé, j'ai eu un empêchement, it's kind of like saying, sorry, I didn't make it, something came up or something got in the way, but you don't want to talk about it. And people kind of know, okay, don't probe any further kind of thing. The next word is probably one of my least favorite words in French. I just think it's kind of an ugly sounding word and I just don't really like it. But it's gueule, and I better get used to it because it's used all the time in French. Ta gueule, I mean, that means like shut up. But gueule, like à la base, like originally, means the mouth of an animal, like the muzzle area, right? But the French mainly use it to refer to someone's face or head. It's often used when you're sort of like referring to the look on someone's face, like they're making a facial expression that's either like they're in shock or it's hilarious. It's like their reaction to something, right? Just so you tell your teenage daughter that she's not allowed to go out and she kind of like scowls at you, you could be like, oh la la, la gueule qu'elle fait là, like the face she's making kind of thing. This word is nage, and nage kind of means to mock or tease someone because you're in a better position than they are. You're able to kind of talk from a place of privilege, I guess. So for example, my partner and I don't have any kids and we've got lots of friends who have started having babies and that kind of thing. And so we can tease them about the fact that they don't get to sleep in anymore. So we could say something like, on n'arrête pas de les naguer quand on fait la grasse mat. So we don't stop teasing them whenever we sleep in. La grasse mat, c'est la grasse matinée, like the fat morning to sleep in. The next French word that doesn't really have an equivalent in English is les retrouvailles. Now that I'm out of France, I'm really struggling with the R again, but like retrouve, to find again, you can hear it. So les retrouvailles, it's really the moment where old friends meet again. A dear friends or a dear person in your life and it's been a long time since you've seen them. So it could be either one-to-one or in a group setting. The next word with another R, damn it, is râler. And to râler is really to complain. So you'd think, okay, that's got an English equivalent. What are you talking about, Rosie? But it's different because it's not so negative. When you say she's a complainer or she's complaining, it's got such a negative connotation. It's always a bad thing to be a complainer or to complain, but not in France. And I've done a whole video on why do French people complain so much, so I'll link that up here. But râler is a bit different because yes, it can be negative, like elle n'arrête pas de râler là, like she doesn't stop complaining. And yeah, okay, it can be negative, but I've also seen French girls wearing t-shirts like râleuse, like on them, like I'm a complainer. Like, can you imagine that? That would never happen like in the English speaking world, wearing a t-shirt that just says complainer on it. Like, that's not a good thing. So it definitely does have a side that can be kind of positive around speaking your mind. You don't let yourself get walked all over, and you know that the French love that, you know, regarding like in the culture there's striking and there's fighting for their rights and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes to râler is what's needed, and it's a good thing, especially if you can do it with a sense of logic and in a kind of eloquent and enlightened way. Râler can actually be quite a positive thing to be doing. Now the next word I am a big fan of, it's flâner, and it's a flâner is a verb which means to kind of slowly stroll around. Imagine strolling throughout the streets of Paris and just taking it in with no aim, no purpose, no direction. It's just what you're doing. You're in Paris, so you're just gonna flâner. You're just gonna have a stroll, see what happens, see where you go, take it all in. I feel like Paris inspired this verb. So next up we have bricoleur du dimanche. So bricoleur du dimanche is someone who who just without any real knowledge or a plan, let's say a proper plan or proper materials, kind of puts things together and is a bit random and yeah, likes to create things or fix things up. So next up we have à l'ouest. So à l'ouest means in the west, and it really means someone who's like, you know, a bit of a daydreamer, maybe someone who's a bit strange or quirky, someone who's kind of, or maybe someone who's always kind of like lost in thought and that kind of thing. So I think the closest equivalent we'd have in English would be like head in the clouds, or someone on another planet. But again, it's not always that. But that gives you the kind of idea of the kind of person we're talking about. You could say something like Nicolas, il est vraiment à l'ouest tout le temps. So Nicolas, he is really in the west all the time. The last French word that I wanted to share that really doesn't have an English equivalent, and I just think it's a really beautiful concept, is terroir. And I'm not going to say that again because there's too many R's. There are 3 R's in that word, and that is not okay. No, but terroir, it's a really specific word because it's often to do with wine and cheese. It's talking about a place, like almost land, but it combines the concept of the climate, of geography, of geology, of culture, of labor, of generations past, of history, of knowledge passed down. Terroir kind of encompasses all of that about a place. And a beautiful French film that encapsulates this concept really well is called Ce qui nous lie. And it's a really beautiful film, and I definitely recommend you watch it just in general, but also to really understand what I mean by this word, this concept, terroir. So guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this list of these beautiful French concepts and words that just don't seem to have an equivalent in English. It's not exactly the same way of capturing the same concept, and that's what's so beautiful about learning a new language. If you have any French language kind of requests or requests for videos, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll check that out, and otherwise I'll see you guys in the next Not Even French video. So until then, I'll say ciao and à bientôt.